This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Come on in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this broadcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truth. I am so excited. I got a lot to be excited about because we are continuing this fact-finding journey together as we the people, us flowing together as one, as we are gaining an understanding of our great nation and what makes it work. We the people, as represented by our beautiful flag and our presidential seal, aren't you excited about a presidential election this year? And this information that we are gaining together, it is vital and it is connected to the election that's coming up. Keep your seatbelt on. We're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there. So we're getting this knowledge together. I'm telling you, it's going to unfold and you're going to go, huh? What did you say? Yes, that's coming. So keep tuning in. I want to thank you. Those of you who are new, those who have been consistently supportive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your continued support. Listen, we are so much closer to a big event, two big events, but the first one is happening April the 13th, 2024, where we're having our meetups in our state capitals all over our great nation, a day of fasting and prayer where we are praying and standing together in unity. There are 210 million Christian Americans. That's a lot of people. That's 62% of our population. The majority, we've got a voice, we've got power. Yeah. And so what we're doing when we're educating ourselves, that gives us more power because we're informed. So there are 340 million Americans, 210 million of us are Christian Americans, and we want our nation to succeed. We want to be here for our nations, us flowing together as one, and prayer is a part of it. So on April the 13th in the state capitals, we're having those meetups. We're having a day of fasting and prayer in all the state capitals all across the nation. And an integral part of that are our prayer hubs, our prayer groups that are forming, have formed, and are continuing to form all over the nation. If you want to know how to establish your own or how to be connected with one that's already established in your area, you can reach out to me at info@janicepons.com. I can point you in that direction if you desire that. All of this is going to culminate with a massive day of fasting and prayer where 1 million voices are rising will gather on the Washington Federal Mall on October 12th, 2024. It's going to be powerful. Put it on your calendar. We are going to have an amazing time. It's the state meetups, April the 13th. Our prayer groups are all integrally an integral part of that, okay? And then we're going to culminate on October 12th at the Washington Federal Mall. Put it on your calendar. I'll be there. I hope to see you. It's going to be amazing. So this month of February, we've been on this journey of understanding the pillar of our great nation, our taxpayer dollars, supporting Social Security, supporting our military, supporting education, paying off the interest of our national debt, and supporting health care on the federal level, Medicare. So we have been dissecting each part of Medicare. And tonight we're going to really dissect part D. So, and then for our clinical perspective, we're going to be looking at something that I have a great passion about. That's addiction and alcoholism, because there's so many Americans challenged in those areas as well. And we want our brothers and sisters, we want our fellow Americans to walk in freedom and empowerment, because God's got a special plan for them and he wants them to be recovered. He wants them to be free. So let's continue this amazing journey that we've been going on together regarding Medicare. So let's just kind of sum it all up. So what is Medicare? Simply put, Medicare is a federal health insurance program for people who are 65 and older, people under 65 with certain disabilities, and people with end-stage renal disease, and our taxpayer dollars support it. The Medicare program offers basic coverage to help pay for things like doctor's visits, hospital stays, and surgeries. Can you see how we've got each other's back? What are the 4 parts of Medicare? Medicare is broken up into 4 parts. Medicare Part A, we spent an entire podcast on that, the 1st of February, hospital coverage. Medicare Part B covers medical coverage. Medicare Part C is Medicare Advantage, where it's like a bundle. And Medicare Part D is prescription drug coverage. So tonight, we are going to dissect Part D. We've already dissected A, B, and C. Now D. Part D covers prescription drugs. Only private insurance plans offer it. It's usually included in a Medicare Advantage plan, or you can get a separate Part D plan. Now, through Medicare Part B is a coverage for certain vaccines or medications based on specific health conditions. Now, Part B covers that, but Part D provides a much wider range of coverage for people if they want to get vaccines. Everybody doesn't, but for people that do, and outpatient prescription medication. Who's eligible for Medicare prescription drug plans? There are specific times when you can sign up for these plans. So who can get it? Or there are specific times to make changes for coverage that you already have. Generally, you can join, switch, or drop a Medicare drug plan. We've already talked about it. It's people that are 65 and older, those that are disabled. We've already talked about who can get it, and those with end-stage renal disease. So when you first become eligible for Medicare, because you're turning or are age 65 or older, you can sign up for a Medicare drug plan, medication, to get medication during your initial enrollment period. That's the 7-month period that begins 3 months before the month you turn 65, which includes the month you turn 65, and ends 3 months after the month you turn 65. If you sign up during the first 3 months of your initial enrollment period, in most cases, your coverage starts the first day of your birthday month. However, if your birthday is on the first day of the month, your coverage will start the first day of the prior month. If you enroll the month you turn 65, or during the last 3 months of your initial enrollment period, the start date for your coverage will be delayed. This is important to know. If you get Part B for the first time during the general enrollment period, you can also join a Medicare drug plan from April 1st through June 30th. Your coverage will start on July 1. During open enrollment between October 15th and December 7th each year, your coverage will begin on January 1st of the following year. That's open enrollment, October 15th through December 7th. Now, at any time, if you qualify for Extra Help is a Medicare program to help people with limited income and resources pay Medicare prescription drug program costs like premiums, deductibles, and co-insurance. This is important. Listen, people have issues. They need help. They need coverage. When certain events happen in your life or someone's life, our fellow Americans, like if you move or you lose other insurance coverage, these chances, the chances to make changes are called special enrollment periods. Rules about when you can make these changes and the type of changes you can make are different for each special enrollment period. Now, what is Medicare prescription drug plans? Medication plans, covering medication. People need medication, guys. Stop blasting people if they need to take medication or they choose to. Okay? Medicare offers prescription drug coverage to everyone with Medicare. If you decide not to join a Medicare prescription drug plan Part D when you're first eligible, you don't have other credible prescription drug coverage. Let's say you don't have that, or you don't get extra help, you'll likely pay a late enrollment penalty. Now, to get Medicare drug coverage, you must join a plan run by an insurance company or other private company approved, one that's approved by Medicare. Each plan can vary in cost and drugs that are covered. There are two ways to get Medicare drug coverage. Now, what are those ways? It's important to know. A Medicare prescription plan Part D, that's how, and a Medicare Advantage plan Part C, like an HMO or a PPO or other Medicare health plan that offers Medicare prescription drug coverage. Okay? This is important to know. There are two ways to get Medicare drug coverage. Now, the Medicare drug plans, these plans add the coverage for the medication to original Medicare. Some Medicare cost plans and some private fee-for-service plans and medical savings account plans. You must have Medicare Part A, which is the hospital insurance, and or Medicare Part B, medical insurance, to join a separate Medicare drug plan. People need medication. Medicare Advantage plan, which is Part C, or other Medicare health plans with drug coverage. You get all of your Part A, Part B, and drug coverage through these types of plans. The Medicare Advantage plan, you get all A, B, and D. Remember, you must have Part A and B to join the Medicare Advantage plan. And not all of these plans offer drug coverage, medication. Now, tips. What do you need to be considering? The way I think, you process it. You got to process it through. I talk to my family. I talk to my son in particular. I talk to my best friends. Sometimes I say this, I need to hear what I'm thinking. They know how I am. And when I talk it through, I get answers. Sometimes God will speak to me. True story. They'll say something. I'm like, oh, thank you, Father. I got clarity. I got understanding. So here's some things to think through. You got to think it through. Here's something you can think, well, I take a specific medication, a specific drug. Look at drug plans that include your prescription drugs on their formulary, which is a list of prescription drugs covered by a drug plan. Compare the costs. Here's another tip. I want, you think, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I want extra protection from high prescription drug costs. So you here's a consideration, look at drug plans offering coverage in the coverage gap and then check with those plans to make sure they cover the medication you need in the gap. Here's another consideration. I want my drug expenses to be balanced throughout the year. So you look at drug plans with no or a low deductible or with additional coverage in the coverage gap. Here's another consideration. We're just thinking it, processing it through. You can think, well, I take a lot of generic prescriptions. Look at the Medicare drug plans with tiers that charge you nothing or low copayments for generic prescriptions that meet your medical needs. Here's another consideration or thought process. You may think, well, I don't have many drug costs, but right now, not now, but I want coverage for peace of mind and to avoid future penalties. Look at Medicare drug plans with a low monthly premium for drug coverage. If you need prescription drugs in the future, all plans still must cover, most of them cover most drugs used by people with Medicare. They do. And here's a final consideration. You're processing it. You're thinking it through, okay? What's applicable to you? You may think, well, I like the extra benefits and lower cost available by getting my health care and prescription coverage from one plan. And I'm willing to pick a plan, a drug plan that may have some restrictions on doctors, hospitals, and other healthcare professionals that I may use. These are just considerations. These are considerations because it's a lot. Yes, it's a lot to consider. We're talking about healthcare, and what we've been doing is wrapping our minds around the dynamics of all the facets of Medicare. Medicare Part A, B, C, and D. Now, healthcare. From a clinical perspective, we're going to dive into understanding something that has a direct impact upon people's health. I've seen it over and over and over again, and sometimes it's been an up close, front and center view that I had, even with family members that have gone on and they didn't realize the effect that alcohol was having on their bodies. This is a passion of mine. And anybody that knows me as a clinician, I'm talking to you as a fellow American. But if you know me as a clinician, you know that addiction treatment is a passion of mine. I'm called to address it. So from a clinical perspective, we're going to look at sobering facts about alcohol and cancer. Listen. Whew. There is an urgent need to raise global awareness about the direct link between alcohol consumption and cancer risk. It killed some of my immediate family members. I have a passion about it, and I'm going to talk about it. You know why? If no other reason, they told me to. And there's some people that are uncomfortable about it. Baby, you might as well get peace with God about it because I'm going to do it. They told me to. There was a conference that was held by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, the IARC. It was a global conference. And at that conference, they dissected the connection between alcohol and cancer. And this is what they concluded. Global awareness about the link between alcohol and cancer continues. It's just low. People don't know it. We didn't realize that there was a connection about drinking and what started unfolding with my loved one's health until it was too late. I want to talk about this when people are drinking recreationally. We'll get there in a minute. Health professionals such as oncologists, nurses, medical doctors, general practitioners have an important role in increasing the awareness and bringing this knowledge to people, which may lead to reduced consumption. How about no consumption? It's something to think about. So when these precious healthcare professionals gathered, they did a lot of discussion and processing. Listen, nearly half of the world's population consumes alcohol, approximately 46%. Nearly half, going round it off, going upwards to 50%. Now, it's higher in men, 54%, women, 38%. So how much are people drinking? Globally, on an average, the amount comes to about 6 liters of pure ethanol per year per drinker, or about a bottle of wine a week. Hello. However, consumption patterns vary in various countries. In France, people consume about 12 liters per year, which equates to about 2 bottles of wine per week. Now, the thing about alcohol, you develop a tolerance. You got to have more to get the desired results. It's just, look, I've been in this over 44 years. According to the IARC data, heavy drinking is defined as more than 60 grams a day or about 6 daily drinks. And it accounts for 47% of the alcohol attributable cancers. Let me get to the core. Let's just go on and jump into the core. Here are the cancers that alcohol causes. I'm emphatic about this. I'm very emphatic because I've seen people suffer. Yeah. Oral cavity, cancer in the mouth, alcohol. Cancer of the pharynx, alcohol. Cancer of the larynx, alcohol. Throat cancer, alcohol. Esophageal cancer, alcohol. Colorectal cancer, alcohol. Liver cancer, alcohol. Stomach cancer, alcohol. Pancreatic cancer, alcohol. I hate alcohol. I've seen the suffering from alcohol. Now, look, baby, you may drink sociably. Put that chart up, please, my production team. Let's dive in. You have to be informed. Listen, this is what we don't know. There are stages of addiction. The visual up there. You can talk till you're blue in the face. It's not a disease. Well, there's a disease process. It's progressive. It gets worse. And the end stage is death. That's a disease process. Now, in that visual, you see there are 3 stages of addiction. Early stage of addiction, middle stage addiction. That's a bell-shaped curve. It represents everybody's drinking alcohol. Early, middle, late. Early stage addiction is equated with recreational use. We just going to happy hour. We just having a good time. Ain't nobody hurting anybody. We just having a cold one after work. We're relaxing. But what you don't count on and don't even see is that there's a tolerance where your body just, well, you had 2. Well, how about the next round? And before you know, you're drinking 4, 6, 8. I know I've encountered 3 people in my career that were drinking 90 beers a day. 90. Oh, wow. Thanks for letting me know that that's where you were. You didn't start there. Early stage recreational use. Then you continue to drink more. And you get in that middle stage of addiction, which is substance abuse. How do you know you're there? You're starting to have problems. Legal issues are popping up. Drunk driving. We're late getting to work because we're hungover. We can't get up. Starting to feel a little sick because you are become consumed with addictive thinking, which equals addictive behavior, which equals insanity, which means we're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Then it continues. Why? You've got tolerance because you're drinking more. Yes, this is just how it goes. I eat, sleep, breathe this thing. And I love doing this in family therapy and helping them to identify where they are, because you can't get to where you need to go unless you can identify where you are, precious. A person will end up in late stage addiction. I'm very passionate about this. Can you tell? Late stage addiction is substance dependence. How do you know you're there? Tolerance. You have to have more to get the desired results. Withdrawal. You feel sick. You feel shaky. You have to drink to feel normal. Loss of control is self-explanatory. Blackouts is when you're doing things that you don't even remember. How many women, young girls have I talked to that they don't even remember? They wake up in their bra and their panties or somewhere else and they don't know what happened. They don't remember, but they got signs physiologically that something happened. No recollection whatsoever. Blackouts. DTs, delirium tremens, where it's full-blown psychosis. I've seen men in treatment settings that were buck naked, picking something out of the air for 2 days straight. The medicine couldn't touch them. That's what alcohol did. Body rot. The cancers I just went through, that's body rot, where you rot from the inside out and then your family watches you deteriorate. Listen, this is a death process. I don't mess around with alcohol. I don't mess around with addiction. It's a life or death. You see the bottom of that bell-shaped curve? It's life or death. sobriety or addiction. And it's always going to be the cesspool churning of justification, manipulation, and rationalization. Why? It's okay to take another one. I remember one lady, the doctor said, you take one more drink, you're going to die. Well, we went to her funeral. She didn't believe it. Yeah. Listen, you see that blue box right above late stage addiction? Sweetheart, my precious fellow Americans, those that I love so much, alcohol will lead to jails, institutions, or death. It will kill you. Or rehab, recovery, and wellness. What is Janice Pons a proponent of? You already know. Rehab, recovery, and wellness. I loved setting up that treatment program, that 30-day treatment program, where 87% of the people, and somebody told me, go on and round it off to 90. They said, you know how to get 90% of the America clean and sober? I sure do. Yeah, I love it. 87% of the people were clean and sober and gainfully employed 6 months later. I didn't play. And I told them, baby, this is life or death. Sobriety or addiction, which one you want to choose? Because it will kill you. The cancers. So, see that other blue box there? I can tell you in less than 20 seconds where a person is. And it's based on frequency, intensity, and duration. Yeah. Frequency, how often are you drinking? Intensity, how much are you drinking? Duration, how long has it been going on? These are sobering questions, but very significant questions, because it helps us to locate where we are. I don't want my fellow Americans suffering. When you're going to need this medical care, you'll end up it'll be a mess. I know where it leads to death. It's life or death, sobriety or addiction. I really feel like I'm talking to somebody very specifically tonight about this. Listen, we're in your corner, baby. You are my fellow American. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and I was talking to him, and we ended up talking, and I was like, they're drunk. They are drunk. Yeah. And so, you know what they found out? They were saying God told them, you go on JanicePons.com. She's always talking about going to that resource page, and you find a therapist. You got to get to the root of why you went back to drinking. This is a strong believer. No condemnation for anybody that's drinking. You just need to know the physiological effects of what it will do. It will lead to death. It's connected to cancer. It's not a bad confession. Don't confess that over me. Well, you need to be aware, because it is a destructive pattern. And what are we talking about tonight? My precious fellow Americans, my brothers and sisters in Christ, all 210 million Christians, all 340 million Americans in our great country. There are destructive patterns, but God wants to take us from destruction to dignity, because we're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation, a new nation. We are God empowered, strength is ours, liberty, been set free. Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.